but it's also because we have a lay theory that personality creates behavior. So when we see somebody do something, well, we see somebody do that thing, right? We don't see the context that created and shaped their behavior. So obedience to authority in the Milgram experiment, the patterns we see across the different conditions, where we can create a condition where everybody obeys, and we can create a condition where essentially no one obeys, yields the very real possibility that we would all of us, very likely obey under some circumstances, and regardless of our personalities. And there isn't a single person in this room that even believes that right now. I bet that every person in this room thinks I'm the 1%. I'm the one person that wouldn't obey authority in that setting. I mean, right now I'm telling you that everybody in this room could be made to obey under some sort of circumstances, or virtually everyone. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm the exception, of course. If you're anything like me, somebody doesn't think they're the exception. That's great. I'm impressed. But if you're anything like me, you think, no, yeah, everybody else obeys authority, everybody else conforms, and I'm a little bit different. But again, we can create conditions where everybody obeys. So the fundamental attribution error speaks to this issue of how the situation matters more than the individual. We assume that individual differences matter more than they do. We think that our personality will lead us to defy orders or defy conformity pressures or influence, but it's just not so, or it's just not always so. And this suggests an even bigger conclusion, well, maybe not a bigger conclusion, but a very important one, which is that evil tends to adhere. Whatever the hell evil is, whatever we have in mind, we say that. It tends to adhere in situations more than individuals. Milgram had this great idea. Well, whatever, controversial idea, but a clever idea that I can create conditions in which anybody, the banker, the butcher, your mother, can behave, your mother, sorry, that was a little too much nutrition there, sorry. Anybody would behave in an evil way. And so, if you're asked to guess if a single person would obey, would you want to know about the setting or the person? And I think in the Milgram experiment, you want to know about the setting. Okay. Other relevant research. Any questions about this? Other relevant, oh yes, Chrissy. I don't know. Is there an equivalent monkey see, monkey do for obedience to authority? I don't know. Just like you tend to obey authority. I don't know. I'm sorry. I can't stop doing it like a social psychologist. Like people tend to obey orders from authority figures. Yeah, that's the only way I can do it. I'm sorry. Yeah. And if you say monkey see, monkey do on the test, we might not, luckily you already got through that test. Okay. So other relevant research. Excellent question, but I answered it poorly. Okay. Other relevant research. Sheridan and King, 1972, replicated the Milgram experiment. These are just weird experiments now. This is just me telling you the wacky stuff that social psychologists do. They made a real victim a puppy. They got a puppy. Yeah, I know. How messed up is that? I know. They attached electroshocks to a puppy. And they were like, okay, this Milgram experiment is all well and good, but what about if there's a puppy for a victim? Like, that is not well understood. We need to, do this research immediately, post haste. Somebody figure out what happens to a puppy. And they're like, and also, what if it was real shocks, right? Yeah, exactly. What is the reasoning here? It's crazy. So it received real shocks, and yeah, the puppy did not enjoy this at all. It was not shocked to death. They didn't have an equivalent of like a 450 triple X level, thank God. And the results, 77% obedience, right? So thank God we ran that experiment. Right, that's it. That's all they found. That's it. Yeah. So great. Yeah. Right. The puppy couldn't answer questions. So how did they do this? Well, but it was trained to like follow orders, and then if it didn't follow the orders, then they would shock it. Like sit, roll over, shake. That's interesting. So then it was not pre-trained, so that it had a high rate of disobedience. Yeah, I think that, no, so it had a high failure rate. And I don't know what the learning task was. I didn't read this paper. It's disgusting to me. So, but it's much talked about as this classic example of disgusting unethical research. And I don't know, some kind of training task that the puppy was given, and the puppy just couldn't learn, so it had to be shocked. Right? I know. So, okay, here's another one. Oh no, this is interesting. This is not well, this is freaky, but it's also really interesting. So Rogers and Prentice Dunn in 1981 replicated the Milgram experiment, and here's a graph of the results. They had different victims, different people in a learner position. Rather than always having that one dude with the glasses from the film, or whoever it was in the replication, they would either have a black victim or a white victim, and in the role, and otherwise try to make sure they're about the same levels of attractiveness, height, and so on. They're both men, I believe, the victim. And they were interested in, with these subjects in the study, be more likely to go to a higher level in obeying orders to shock a black victim than a white victim, or maybe the other way around. They were interested in this. And this is the mean level of intensity of shock administered. This is 1981. And so, in the normal condition, the control condition, subjects in the study actually shocked the black victim a little bit less than the white victim, for whatever reason. But if in the beginning of the experiment, when they were waiting to go into the experiment, the victim had insulted the subject, somehow provoked them by saying something rude to them, then it switched, the pattern would switch, and the black victim was shocked at a higher level on average than the white victim, which is very, very interesting, I think. Okay, that's all I have for that. You would interpret that already well. Okay, so one of the big questions, yes, ma'am. I believe that they were mostly white, because it's like college students in 1981. It's like mostly white, but not 100%. I think they just used like a normal distribution of subjects that they got from their subject pool, so probably 90% white. I don't know. And not enough people that weren't white to do separate statistical analyses of those that would be reliable. So you basically assume these are white teachers, subjects. Okay. That's the third straight somebody asked me that, because like this obvious question, I totally don't have a great answer. I'm sorry. So table 3. Oh, I analyzed this table 3. I got this from a book by Michael Rosenfeld, who's an assistant professor at Stanford University. Oh my God, it's terrible because Michael's like a decent guy, but I know that seems implausible. Yeah. So one of the questions with the Milgram experiment is we find that people will obey just as much in the Milgram experiment now as they would in the early 60s. And so this would make you think that, in general, obedience to authority as a value in society or as a practice in society hasn't changed over time. And I would say that, yes, in a situation when somebody, an overbearing person in a position of authority, with legitimate authority, is giving you direct orders, yes, all evidence suggests in America, people are just as likely to obey those orders now as they were in 1961 or 1962. But a larger question, as long as we're talking about obedience to authority, is obedience as a trait of individuals, as a value, as a social value, like obedience to your parents, obedience to your teachers, that kind of thing. What's been going on with that over time? What's been going on with obedience as a value over the course of American history? And this is very hard to study. A lot of our really interesting questions we'd like to be able to study about culture, about American history, about world history, are very difficult to study because we just don't have great data to speak to these issues. So one attempt that was made to study trends in obedience as a value over time was done using the Middletown data set. Has anybody ever heard of the Middletown studies? Raise your hand if you have. Okay, all right, that's brave. There's a couple brave, very studious people. I encourage that. That's good. So I know about the Middletown studies. The Middletown studies were studies that were done in the middle part of the, early, middle, and later part of the 20th century by sociologists. And what they wanted to do was do community studies. They wanted to study how does a normal, average community in the middle of America function and how do people behave. And what they did was they picked, can you not text message my class? They picked an average community, and they called it Middletown, and they actually protected its secrecy because they did all these studies of like a mayor and the city council and the people, and you could figure out who these people were if you knew what town it was. And so it's a big secret what Middletown is, and it's Muncie, Indiana. And they went to Milltown, they studied for a long time. And so they did one wave of survey studies in 1924, and then they went back in 1978 and did another wave of studies. And they asked women who were, moms, to what extent are these traits among the 3 most desirable traits for your children to have? So in 1924, they asked people from this big list of traits, I'm not giving you the whole list, there's like 10 or 15, would one of these appear on your top 3 list of traits you want your kid to have? And so these are the percentages that say each one in 1924 and 1978. And then they also asked them, can you guess or approximate how your mom would have answered this question based on your experiences with your mom? And so we're able to recover very unreliable retrospective data from that. So I know, it's not perfect. Like if I'm going to ask you, how much you want to raise your kids to be obedient to authority, you can probably answer that, reasonably well. You have some sense of that. If I ask you how much did your mom want to do it, you answer it okay, but not great. So that's why we put question marks next to these data, because they're not that good. And we're estimating that the moms, these moms are estimating how their moms would answer the question, but we estimate that if those surveys had actually happened, it would have been about 1900. And if this one had happened, it would have been about 1954. Does this make sense? Okay. Any questions about this? Okay, so these are the real data, and these are the guesses of like mom's data. And then these are trends over time in the percentage of times this is listed in the top 3. So here are a couple non-obedience items, like tolerance for others, respecting other people's opinions even if they're opposed to your own. That's not exactly disobedience, but it's like independence kind of, or respecting other people's independence. So tolerance as a value was not a very central value that you'd raise your kids with in the early part of the 20th century. But right around the middle of the 20th century, possibly influenced by the rise of the civil rights movement, it starts to get on the map a little bit more. And then by 1978, it's one of those central values that's getting mentioned here. So respect for the independence of other people's opinions and their identities and whatnot is increasing over the course of the 20th century. More important for our purposes, here's data on independence, the ability for your kid to think and act for his or herself. And at the beginning of the year, beginning of the century, only like 16% of people are saying that they want that. They're like, well, my kid to think and act for him or herself? No, I don't want that, actually. I want them to behave the way I told them to. And then, by 1924, this is up, and then it's up higher in 1984, and then something happens in between here. You might call it the 1960s, and the Berkeley effect. We changed this, and rates of valuing independence as a central value in your children shoots up to 76%. I believe maybe the biggest value cited, which is very interesting. That now, and presumably it's might even have gone up since then, that now independence is something parents want their kids to have. Now, that is not a traditional view of parenting, right? Like parents in the old school wanted their kids to follow their orders, and we'll see that next. So, how much of them said strict obedience, loyalty to the church, and good manners, all sort of measures of some sort of obedience. And strict obedience, the value goes down, perfectly mirroring, or almost perfectly mirroring the rise of independence, goes down from being a dominant value to being, not so much on the map right here, pretty much switching places with independence, And then loyalty to the church declines as a central value, and the priority put on good manners goes down as well, which I think if any of you have ever had lunch with me, you would be able to speak to that. So basically, there's this decline in the centrality of the value of obedience to authority and a rise in the value of independence over the course of the 20th century, and this probably explains a lot. Any questions about this? Yes. Yes, they're all moms being asked what kinds of values would you like to raise your kids with. You may say, why didn't they interview dads? And I don't really have a great answer to that. No other questions. Okay, cool. So it's interesting. So now we have 2 pieces of kind of conflicting data, right? Bless you. We have 2 pieces of kind of conflicting data. The one where rates of obedience in the actual Milgram experiment are hanging steady, right? They're not declining. And this is situational obedience. When somebody's barking in orders in your ear, will you do it? And the evidence is, yeah, you will, even if it's pretty extreme. But in terms of how much we as a society value obedience and how many parents try to raise their kids with that, it's been steadily declining. Okay. So one of the big questions. I'm not saying that's the answer, by the way. I'm going to present. I'm sorry. Wait, one of the questions that you're probably asking yourself now is, was the Milgram experiment ethical? Or maybe you already answered that. You probably have already answered that in your head. Was the Milgram experiment ethical? Should they even have done the replication in Santa Clara? So let's do a quick straw poll. I'm not saying the answer is yes. Yeah, I'm not saying I'm about to present some evidence both ways. But let's do a quick straw poll. How many people would say that the Milgram experiment is not ethical? Let's say that first. So you raise your hands. And there's, okay, there's a lot of hands. How many people would say the Milgram experiment was ethical or was acceptable ethically? Very interesting. Very interesting. I would say it's about 50-50. Do you agree? Wow, this is wonderful. Okay, if this were a discussion session, we'd be about to have a great discussion about this, but it's not a discussion session, so sorry about that. Okay, so I hope you all feel like you've now expressed yourself in your opinion of the material. Boy, I wish we had discussion questions in this class. Okay, so was the Milgram experiment ethical? Okay, here's some argument for why it was. Yes, he surveyed people afterwards, and very few people complained. And he did a very serious job about it. Like he sent surveys to tons of people, and very few people said, I feel like I was mistreated, or I feel like this experiment was wrong. And that's probably because he made this effort to explain to them after the fact what the point of the experiment was. Or I'm guessing that's part of why people responded in that way. And then another answer, and this is what I would say, I flipped back and forth by the way, whether I think it's ethical or not. Like when I was an undergrad, I thought it was unethical. When I was a second year grad student, I thought it was ethical. And then I thought it wasn't ethical like later the same year. And then later when we started like projecting across like the dance floor at grad student parties, I was like, oh, I don't know if it's ethical or not, And then now I don't know what I think. Now I'd say I'm torn. Okay, so the people could have disobeyed. This is what I used to say. The people could have disobeyed. Milgram created a situation, but he didn't make them do it. He didn't make them press those buttons. And so they ultimately, I would say, in our legal system, if they had actually killed somebody, they would have been held responsible. Ultimately, they didn't have to obey. And so if they found it a traumatic experience, well, maybe they have themselves to blame. But then again, this is sort of at odds with my person situation takeaway, right? Because I'm also telling you, 100% of people will obey in certain circumstances, only 10% in another. So then who really is responsible for the rates of obedience? Milgram or the subjects in the study? Probably Milgram, right? Okay, so this is a controversial thesis. And probably the best reason why the Milgram experiment was ethical, or was at least acceptable ethically, is that the research is very insightful and teaches us important lessons about obedience to authority that might actually be useful for undermining future obedience to authority. Okay, so I think that's probably the best argument for why it's ethical. We learn a lot about a bad phenomenon from having done a few really bad studies. What Milgram did, that were maybe traumatic to people. Okay, so why might it not be ethical? I mean, you all probably have your own takes on this, but this is just some of my things. There's way too much stress in this situation. We would never accept a study proposal now to a human subjects committee that would suggest this much stress. Indeed, even the Santa Clara replication, they topped out at 150 volts or something like that. So they wouldn't go all the way. They didn't have these people really thinking maybe they killed somebody. Too much stress in the situation. Also, there's a standard of ethical conduct in experimental and other research that the researchers must return subjects to the state that they entered the study in. So if you showed up that day happy or sad or not thinking you were a murderer, we need to, at the end of the study, return you to that state because we can't play God with your lives, right? We're only paying you like $20, so, or way less actually. So this is a very important standard, and I think it's a reasonable one. Researchers shouldn't be able to play God and actually change your life. But there's good reason in the Milgram experiment that people were discovering fundamental freaky things about themselves as a result of participating in the study. Also, people were surveyed much later and said that they were significantly affected. So when Milgram did his surveys and said, hey, did I mess you up? Are you okay? They'd be like, no, sir, you didn't mess me up. And is that surprising, right? I mean, these surveys probably aren't reliable. These people were willing to murder somebody when Milgram told them to, and then he asked them, oh, are you offended? Is everything okay? And they're like, yes. when other people went back and surveyed some of the Milgram participants, they found somewhat different news. So some people were upset by it and still upset by it and felt significantly affected by the experience. So that suggests that surveys were unreliable and were maybe themselves subject to obedience effects. Okay, so it's ultimately a tough call. And then this is the big takeaway is we can have different opinions about the actual Milgram experiment itself, but the stuff that came after it was messed up. The shocking the puppy thing, that's absurd. There was also a study done, I believe, in Turkey in the 80s where they had, I think it was 8 and 10-year-olds do the Milgram experiment, and which is completely unacceptable even in Milgram's time in the United States. And like the study has all sorts of messed up stuff like 8-year-olds were more obedient but showed more like emotional discomfort with following the orders and stuff like that. And there's actually there's like this mini crisis where an American psychology journal accepted this article for publication, and people wrote back and were like, "What are you doing? You're encouraging very unethical research by American psychology standards." And they said, "Yes, but it's not American psychology's job to tell Turkey what their psychology ethical standards should be." And there was this controversy over whether that should have been encouraged or published or whether we should obey the ethical standards of different countries' research standards and whatnot. And now I don't think you can conduct that study in Turkey. But there's a question there. Yes, sir. Yes, it's similar to a question we had on Thursday. Wouldn't the later findings be unreliable because the people are influenced by the prior publication that resulted in the Milgram experiment? Maybe, but you have to understand that the Milgram experiment as a ubiquitous thing that everybody knows about hasn't really happened until about the last 10 years. Like when I was learning about the Milgram experiment, this was still like a pretty unusual thing to learn about it. Now it's many years ago, 11 or 12 years ago. And now it seems like everybody knows about the Milgram experiment, but that would have been very unusual in the 80s and the 70s. People really wouldn't know about it. Like the William Shatner movie was a major TV movie that wasn't very popular. It wasn't very good. So not everybody saw that, so that's sort of an answer to your question. Okay. Real-world relevance. How does this relate to the real world? Well, it relates to the real world in really obvious ways, but it relates to the real world in some very specific ways as well. So one of the big takeaways that I've told you is evil behavior is perhaps most likely when responsibility is cut up. Oh, I haven't mentioned this yet. Evil behavior is perhaps most likely when it's cut up into small parts, right? Where somebody has to originate orders, and then they pass them on to somebody else, and then that person passes on the orders as well. Remember that one of the highest rates of obedience was found in the study with a person, what do? They get orders, and then they just have to relay them to somebody else, right? And the rate of obedience there is like 90% or something. So if you don't actually have to press the button yourself, and all you have to do is just get the order and then tell it to somebody else, then all of a sudden obedience is almost 100% again. So if you're just a cog in a larger machine that's creating, shall we say, evil behavior, it can run very fluidly with very high rates of obedience from its participants, even if you're doing terrible, terrible things. And one thing you'll notice is that when we do see horrible extreme acts of human behavior, like prison abuse or genocide or concentration camps, unethical medical experiments, we find these examples of extreme obedience to authority leading to horrible human outcomes. We often see that it's because there's a hierarchy where every person in this hierarchy is delegated some little part of a larger task. When one person is responsible for the whole thing, people aren't capable of perhaps the extent of evil that they are as if it's chunked in an organization into smaller parts. Why is that? Probably because when it's chunked like that, when it's cut up into discrete smaller tasks, the feeling of individual responsibility for any person in the chain is minimized. Also, okay, so then organizations, can you all be quiet back there? Yes, thank you. Organizations and groups, governments, bureaucracies, gangs, corporations, mobs, which don't seem to have much in common, but they do have a lot in common, and that they're capable of terrible, destructive, antisocial acts, and that they're subject to these principles, that when we chunk out evil behavior into discrete, smaller parts, then it's more likely to happen. So they're very capable of extreme antisocial behavior. And so some of these examples include groupthink, bystander non-intervention, the diffusion of responsibility, and obedience to authority. All of these become more likely in such settings, in organizational settings, actually. So, okay. So this very specific real-world relevance is the Adolf Eichmann trial. And Adolf Eichmann was a former high-ranking Nazi official, and really a bureaucrat. He was in the condition of the study when a person took orders from the originator of the orders and then gave them to this other person who had to press the button. That was kind of him, that 90% condition. And that was exactly his defense. He claimed that he was just following orders. He said, look, I'm in the 90% condition of the Milgram experiment here. I only transmitted instructions in a bureaucracy that was created by an evil person, Adolf Hitler. But I wasn't evil. I did what anybody else would do. I was just following orders. And the Eichmann trial, the world was transfixed by the Eichmann trial. It was this big thing. It happened from, I believe, 1960 to or 1959, 1962. He was caught by that famous Nazi hunter somewhere in South America. He fled Germany following World War II to South America and hung out, hid there for like 15, 16 years before being found by, does anybody know the name of the famous Nazi hunter? It's played by Lawrence Olivier in The Voice of Brazil. Damn. Anyway, he's cool. So he found Adolf Eichmann and took him to trial. And what they did in those days is they take you to a world court, an international court, and try you for crimes against humanity when they found these Nazis who had fled Germany. And this was his defense. And it became this kind of famous seminal defense of, is this an acceptable defense? Can you just say, I'm just accepting orders, I'm just following orders? And you can't. Well, at least Eichmann didn't get away with it. So he was nonetheless found guilty and hung in 1962. And actually, the Kurt Vonnegut book, Mother Night, has a very interesting sort of commentary on this. And one thing I was going to say is, think about the timing, right? The Eichmann trial happens around 1960 or so. In fact, the Eichmann trial happens about 2 or 3 months before Milgram ran his first experiment. And Milgram had a lot of Jewish family in New York, and supposedly was very affected by the Eichmann trial. And though we don't know this, it may have been the direct impetus for the Milgram experiments. So where if you want to understand the dynamics of this just following orders type phenomenon. Any questions about that? Okay. All right, moving on from the Eichmann trial. Okay, so a little recap of Milgram's life. I find Stanley Milgram very interesting. I suggest you read the Milgram biography, The Man Who Shocked the World, despite the silly title. Thomas Glass just sent me an email saying that it's now available in paperback, so there you go, it's cheaper now. So Milgram was born in 1933 in the Bronx, and in 1954 he received his bachelor's degree in political science from Queens College, and then in 1960 he received his PhD from Harvard, where he studied primarily with Gordon Allport, who had a dirt fetish, as you remember, and Solomon Asch, who constructed the Asch experiment. And in the spring, and I should say that for his dissertation, Milgram was going to replicate the Asch experiment in France and Norway. Oh, I already told you that. We were talking about the Asch experiment. So in the spring of 1960, Milgram gets the idea for the obedience trials, possibly influenced by the Eichmann capture and trial, and this is when he's an assistant professor at Yale from 1960 to 1962, and this essentially makes his career. Instantly, everybody knows about the results. They're a big deal. He presents them at conferences, and everybody in psychology, which is, everybody in social psychology, so this group of very, very dorky people, such as myself, we're all very, very excited about Stanley Milgram, and he becomes sort of an instant academic celebrity. Then from 1960, he gets hired back by Harvard from 1962 to 1963.